It's so cool to meet you.
It's the best to be here.
You are incredible.
You are incredible.
I'm gonna lead with that. So thank you for so much entertainment that I love and adore still.
Same to you.
What I have to ask, what made you, you've been a writer for so long, what made you want to write a book now?
I'm a pack rat, so I've kept every souvenir and every notebook and everything from all this time being a journalist even before I was a director. And it was time to just kind of tell these stories that I would tell friends, the stories behind the stories that I wrote in the day. Did you,
it's amazing that you did that and you documented it, because I feel like my career, there's parts that I don't even remember, like things that I did, because it's such a fast-paced industry. Did you find out about yourself, or did you go, oh my God, I can't believe this is my life at moments? Well, because your stories are insane.
Well, I had this amazing opportunity to write about my heroes and seek them out, which was a lesson from my mom, who was a great teacher and stuff. But I got to write for Rolling Stone, and Kelly, I took notes on everything. So I would dart into the bathroom and say, David Bowie dresses like this, and he says this, and
it's so smart that you did that.
From Labyrinth, David Bowie.
Oh my God. I know, I'm so embarrassed, but that's literally, that's who I knew first.
No, he's the complete
Then I got into Ziggy Stardust. Yes,
amazing figure. But I just think you get a lot of power from keeping the things that meant something to you then, because they're always there to access, to remember, the thrill you had at the time, and then kind of share it with your friends.
I know. You're amazing at dinner parties, and now you give us the book for everybody that doesn't get to have dinner with you. So you start the book with this quote from your mom, speaking of your mama, the only true satisfaction comes from doing good. She sounded like an amazing person.
Yeah, she really was a warrior for positivity, which kind of ended up being in a lot of the characters that I would write, And it just felt like there's so much darkness that gets celebrated, and a lot of that stuff is fun and to read about and stuff. But then there's always good value in a noble person who's doing their best. It gets knocked down, but they get up.
Yeah.
And they come back to succeed again, hopefully.
It's infectious too, to be positive. Even if you're not feeling it, you come up to work or whatever, and you're like, okay, you maybe put it on for a bit, but then it starts to feel real, and then it spreads, wherever you are. So I think that's really cool that she instilled that in you at a young age. You're famous for your song choices, but I heard that your mom wasn't a fan of your musical taste.
Not at first.
No?
No. She felt it was a way for promiscuity and sex and brain cells to die along the way.
Which she's not completely wrong.
No,
with
but you can't agree with her too easily. But I did for a while. But, music has a way of choosing you, know, and it finds you. And that song at the right time says, I know how you feel. Listen to me 50 times, and we're gonna be friends for life.
There's nothing better than that.
Nothing better.
Hearing a record or a song and you're like, oh, I feel like this person, you connect on a level that I don't feel like happens in every art form, you know what I'm saying?
It's a diary,
special.
too. You can always go back to it and remember.
It's like a chapter of your life, yeah.
Were
you ever in a band yourself?
I was.
Okay.
I was in a band for a day.
Okay.
And the band was called The Masked Hamster. And we played one song, and at the end of the day, it was kind of like, you know what? I think we're gonna break up," said the guy that was in the band.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, I was walking through the neighborhood, and I heard the band without me. So the Masked Hamster did stay together.
Oh, they told you they were.
Sans me, yeah. So that was the day where I decided. The typewriter is my instrument.
You know what? You've done well.
Thank you.
We are back with Crowe, everybody. His new autobiography is called The Uncool. It's out now. Many of Cameron's movies have defined our cinematic memories for the last 40 years, so we wanted to take a moment to ask him about some of those, because there's so many. So this is your fault. Does it sound good? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, you have to be, because it's just happening. So let's start with Fast Times at Ridgemont High! Oh my God, I love this film so much.
Thank you.
Yes, what do you remember?
Well, Sean Penn really was in character the whole time. He wanted us to call him Jeff Spicoli, which we did for 2 months.
Like at catering?
Everywhere.
Okay.
He had a crush on Pam Springsteen, who's Bruce Springsteen's little sister, who's a cheerleader in the movie.
Yeah.
And he had a quiet crush, but he could never talk to her about it because he was in character as Jeff Spicoli, who was kind of a loner. So
Okay.
after hours sometimes, even as Jeff, he would say, you know, I like these people, but I feel like I can't make friends with them. I'm in character. And he did wild stuff, you know. Mr. Hand, played by Ray Walston in this, he would do things off camera to mess with this like storied, famous older actor, you know, and he was a young guy, he didn't have that many credits, but off camera, when the line was supposed to be like, "What's up, Mr. Hand?" he would be like, "You red-faced old mother!" And Ray Walston would go,
Taken
"Oh my
aback.
God!"
Yeah.
But it would be off camera, but it would get the reaction that you see in the movie. So he
Yeah.
was a skilled guy. The day Sean Penn finished with the movie, he showed up in a corduroy jacket, very polite guy. He walked around, he thanked everybody, he asked out Pam Springsteen, and he also gave us some embossed Vans as like a gift, because that was something that he came up with, and when he first showed up to play the part, he
Yeah.
was wearing the checkerboard Vans, which made Vans a huge company. It's
Very
cool.
cool. All right. Well, next one is Almost Famous. Now, this one was based on your real life. Like, I didn't know that when I first saw it. And your mom had a cameo, right?
She does have a cameo. She's giving away graduation. She's giving away diplomas in a scene where William Miller misses the ceremony because he's off on the road with the band. Almost Famous is the most personal thing that I ever wrote.
You have a wild life, okay?
was
When I
wild.
found out this was real, I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, the book, in a way, is kind of the true story behind Almost Famous and,
Yeah.
and all the people that I met and were able to
At a very young
interview
age.
At a young age.
Yeah.
And Almost Famous is kind of a composite of those experiences and how lucky I was to be kind of taken in by my favorite bands who were just happy to have me on the road for sometimes weeks at a time, like Led Zeppelin or, you know,
But what
Bowie.
you must have seen.
Yeah.
What?
It's, I didn't realize really how old I was, and neither did Rolling Stone in a way. They were giving me jobs basically based on the phone, and Ben Fong Torres, the music editor, called my home looking for me one day, and my sister Cindy answered the phone and said, "Well, he's not here right now." "You know he's 15, don't you?"
Yeah.
And that's when they found out how old I was at the magazine. But the bands kind of knew that I was a youngish guy who loved their music and wanted to ask them these questions.
Yeah, interested in what they're doing, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Because a lot of times, you know, you get interviewed by people that really don't, they got assigned to that person. They weren't really a
Exactly.
fan.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like talking to someone who really knows your catalog or really delves in on what you're doing and like cares.
And,
Yeah.
and the doors open
And the
for
passion
me.
of a young person too. Someone
Yeah.
that's 15, you know, so green. It's just wild that was real. But this is the last one. I love this one so much. This is We Bought a Zoo.
Oh, yeah.
I love We Bought a Zoo.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is one of my favorites. Okay, so what comes to mind with this one?
Well, I really loved working with Scarlett Johansson and Matt Damon. And
Yeah.
Matt Damon is such a fun collaborator. And we were talking one day, and I said, well, let's come up with something that people who see the movie can take home and maybe think about a little later.
Yeah.
So we kind of crafted this thing that 20 seconds of insane courage. All you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, and something great will come from it.
Yeah.
And that is so much like Matt Damon and me kind of coming up with something that would be fun for the movie.
Yeah.
And it did become that thing we wanted, which is, you know, people talk about it to me a lot. And I love the feeling of the movie.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think the title, We Bought a Zoo, makes you think that it's something
It's
other
all about,
than what it is. But what it is a pretty human story. I'm really proud of it.
I know, it's my favorite. I love all the films we've discussed, but that's my favorite. I made them include, I was
So
like,
great.
please put We Bought a Zoo in. I was like,
Thank
I love
you.
that one. I love everything you do. Congratulations on being you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody give it up for Cameron Crowe. His new autobiography, The Uncool, is available now wherever you get your books, and everyone in the audience is getting a copy.